Hi everyone. In this video we'll add a background to this image of a flower. We're using Affinity Photo and let's start by taking this image of flowers in motion and adjusting the color. So we'll add an HSL layer and select the yellows. I think I'll move it over a little to include the greens. That should be okay, and we'll just adjust the hue. Add a little saturation and a little luminance to make it a little brighter. I think that should be okay. So we can flatten these two layers by going Document Flatten or using the keyboard shortcut Shift F. Command C to copy it. Open our other image. And Command V to paste. And we'll change the blend mode to lighten. And that will allow the lighter pixels in the layer underneath to show through. So we'll call this upper right. And let's make the canvas a little bit smaller and select the Move tool with the letter V. That's this tool up here. And so we'll move this layer we've added, and let's rotate it around so the blue is closer to the middle, like so. Move it up a little bit. Oops. Maybe even stretch it out a little. There we go. I think that'll be okay for now. Let's go back to our background. And this time we'll use the Mesh Warp tool to kind of distort it a little. So we double click on the outside lines to add another line, double click again to add another line, and we can start to click and drag to add some distortion, change the shape a little of what we have. And of course this is all done to taste. Whatever you like, that's the right way to do it. I think I'll add another line and stretch out this blue a little bit. There we go. I think that'll be okay. Let's apply that. Command C to copy. Back to our other image. Command V to paste. And it pastes in the new layer. Change the blend mode to lighten. And let's call it left. And we'll move it over. And rotate it a little. Oops. There we go. I think that's okay. Once more back to our background, and this time we'll flip it horizontal. So document it, flip horizontal, Command C to copy, to our other image, Command V to paste, change the blend mode, and we'll call this one right. We'll move it down a little. I think that'll be okay. And let's move the background flower as well. So when we select the background layer with the Move tool selected, we get these X's around the outside instead of the dots. And this tooltip down the bottom here tells us that the selection is locked and cannot be moved. So let's click on the lock to release it. And oops. And we can move it down, perhaps rotate it a little. There, I think that'll be okay. And let's just do that left one once more. We'll click and drag it down. We'll stretch it out a little. I think that'll do. Now, the background layer, select the brush tool just to get rid of the lines around it. I think it could use a little bit of an HSL adjustment as well. And we'll select this pink over here, so we're adjusting the color of the petals. I think that'll be okay. Blue petals instead of pink. And now let's merge these layers together. So hold the Shift key, select them all, right-click, merge visible, and that adds a new layer. Let's call it merged. And that's a combination of all these layers that we've selected. So we can just finish up on the merged layer. So let's deselect all of these layers, select the merged layer, and we've got something to clean up here with the clone tool. So we'll select that with the letter S, Alt-click to select an area we want to copy. And there it is, we'll just paint over that. I think that's okay. Now one thing I want to be sure of is that the background is really black, so let's add a levels adjustment to this merged layer. And we'll just drag the black slider over until it's touching the histogram here. I think that's okay. And finally, we'll select that merged layer and go to this FX symbol, that's layer effects, and add a border, a small border. Let's say 5 pixels, thereabouts. And we want it inside. And clicking on the color swatch will allow us to choose a color. So let's select the picker and select a color from within the image. Whoops, what happened? I think that'll do. That adds it to this little dot here. We click on that and that adds it to the color swatch. And we can refine it a little more if you want it a little brighter or a little less blue, a little more gray perhaps. That'll do. Drop the opacity slightly so that it's not too bright. close. Oops, and it looks like I accidentally cloned part of the flower over here. I have the clone tool selected. Let's see if we can get rid of that. Click. There we go. That's it, adding a background in Affinity Photo. I hope you've found this video helpful, and be sure and check out the other videos available on the club website.